Hello everyone, thanks for clicking on this channel, and I just hope that you're doing great and everything, you're living your best life. I just want to make this like a quick video, and this is directed to African Americans and people in the diaspora, maybe that have been living in diaspora for such a long time. And some people in the diaspora, actually these days, they just don't want to go back to a country where they came from. For those that left Africa some time back for greener pastures, but some people are willing to go to any country in Africa where they feel comfortable, where they feel secure, they receive proper security, and the country they think is good for whatever investment they wanna invest in. And just some might just like the president of that country and the direction in which the country is they're going into, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's really great. But mainly, like what the problem I think I'm noticing with especially African Americans moving to the continent. This is just something I want to bring up. I think there's a bit of emotions going on there. Sometimes when you are emotional, you make bad decisions. I just want to point out a few things, and I think I'm gonna do this as in a sort of a series where I'll be pointing out just a few things. I'll try to make them like 5-minute long videos. The reason why I want to talk about this is what I've noticed is a lot of people are moving to the continent without proper research and proper planning. K and K Squad is one good example. Where they go there with the white mentality, and I'm gonna show Africans, I'm gonna feed them, I'm gonna help them. And that's the wrong mentality. That's the wrong mentality. You can't go there trying to feed Africans and feed every child, because it's impossible to do it. You can help. I have no issues with that. But when you go there with a superiority complex, things aren't gonna go down well for you. But just to go back to my point. First of all, people are going to places because some of them have a huge exchange difference. So like $1 might be like mean 50 of 500, or even sometimes, or 50 of whatever currency of the country they want to move into, and they look at that and go, oh, I'm gonna be balling when I move there, right? So they're just thinking like, I'm gonna be balling, $1, $50, or when I move there to this place, I'm a millionaire, and life is gonna be great, and that's it. And they move to that place. But this is what I'm just gonna tell you, that the poorer a country is, the more expensive things that might seem normal to you become. What do I mean by this? Let's say you move to a country that's very poor, and you tell by the exchange rate, right? It means things like data for your phone will be extremely expensive. You'll find yourself spending $10 per 10 minutes. That's because those things in that country have become expensive, because it's more like a luxury thing to have. And also it's only a limited number of people that can afford it, because the country is poor. So if you have a business that relies on internet and data and all those things, it means it's going to be very costly to do that business. So you have to look into that. The other thing is you got to look into health. If a country is very poor, it also means the healthcare system and the healthcare services are not going to be that great. You have to put your health first. You want to get sick and know that you can go to the hospital and you might not get up to like, standard in America, but at least maybe 80-90% of what you want. The other thing is that if a country is poor, it means even just having a nice house is a luxury. So it only caters for the 1% in that country. Like a nice house, what you might not even call luxury in America, just a country with like proper water supply and warm water and things like that, it becomes expensive. A prime example is And I'm not going against Ghana here, but just from what I'm looking at, some of the house prices are expensive. Expensive. Some of them is like, from a mortgage in Australia, it's nothing compared to what these guys are paying. I'm like, how if these Ghanaians even be able to afford such a house? $3,500 a month. You know, the Achapong family are struggling to find even a house where they can rent for $1,000. You know, so you have to look into those things. Because what I'm going to tell you, like if you are to move to South Africa, you live in a place called Sandton, and you pay $700 a month for your apartment, you'll be balling. It's a nice place, nice everything, and you're gonna even forget you are in Africa. You think you're in America because you're gonna have everything. Krispy Kreme, all the American brands with just a South African twist on them. You know, the cleanliness. You won't need to even buy polish to polish your shoes, you know, because there's no dust, you know. So, and that's normal in those countries because the economies are a bit more advanced. And same thing with the phone charge. Internet is going to be cheaper than if you were in a poor country where that is considered to be a luxury to have, you know. So these are some of the things that you have to look at. So your healthcare, most poor countries it would be very hard for you to find good healthcare. Most poor countries it would be very hard for you to find. It would be very expensive to have to use the internet, and also the rent in most of these poor countries. You know, a good house will be considered luxury to have with the amenities that you need, like, you know, warm water and stuff like that, and electricity. Electricity is the other thing. It means it's going to be a bit costly, and the way it's going to be costly is the fact that you have to either buy a generator, you know, and that generator uses diesel, and diesel in Africa is very expensive. Even in countries that produce oil like Nigeria, diesel is expensive because they sell crude oil and buy refined oil until, you know, obviously that will change when Dangote refinery gets into operation. However, at the moment, that might be very expensive. So you find yourself paying a lot more money than you were for electricity in America. And you're having these power cuts and stuff like that. But if you're in a place like South Africa and even like Kenya and Tanzania, you might not experience you experience power cuts, but then they might not be as severe as what you get in some of these poor countries. So do your research. Me, I believe, you know, and I don't want it to sound like Ghana is this bad place. It's a nice place, but what I think, like, generally, if you want to live in a nicer house, from what I'm looking at the moment, it's very expensive. Only if you are able to sort of bring down your expectations and you are able to live in an area where maybe that's not as luxurious up to like Ghanaian standards, you know, that's just normal, then you can build a house for $15,000-$20,000. I have no doubt about that. But again, that's an area where you have to maybe have a generator, buy a water pump and all these things. And if you're just trying to set yourself up, these might be a bit overwhelming for some people. That's why I'm saying, that's why I'm suggesting sometimes maybe you need to sort of ease yourself into the African lifestyle. You start slow. You go to countries where it's in Africa, but it's like sometimes you have to be reminded because you're going to get the same services that you have in America. And I think South Africa is one of those countries. Check out the real South Africa. And I also think Rwanda, you know, in terms of the cleaner streets, you know, that's the other thing. It means you're going to have to spend a lot of money, sometimes even on transport, you know. Whereas if you're in South Africa, you might just use a train, you know. And Rwanda, they might not have trains at the moment, but you have to buy a card, which means the taxi drivers won't be able, or even the buses, they're not going to be able to rip you off transport, you know. Those are just some of the things I think people need to look at. Look at the just because the country is cheap, the exchange rate is great, doesn't mean things will be cheaper there. You'll find yourself paying extremely high prices for even higher than what you pay in America for some of the amenities that you need. You know, you find that, you know, the roads to your house would be very, very bad. And this is something I had a woman who actually had to move out of her house in the Gambia. Luckily, the landlord was able to agree to let her go before she even moved in. She moved, like a week after she moved in, actually, which like even which I thought the landlord was amazing, because that might be a problem in some parts, even in America, where if you've signed the lease, you've signed the lease. You gotta stay in there, because she realized that where the main road was far from where this house was. Nice house, but just to get to the main road, she had to go through these, she goes swamp, water and logged places and all that stuff, and it just became hard for her. And this is why I think, like, you need to do your research among those things. And I think it'll be smart of you to ease yourself into this into the African way of life. And I think countries like South Africa, Botswana, Rwanda, Kenya and Tanzania might provide like a good entry point for you into Africa. Thank you for listening to this. I'm going to add a few more things, and if there's anything that you'd like to know, please leave in the comment section, and I'll take it from there. Thank you. And please subscribe and click on that like button. Thank you. Bye.